Repo Man is kind of just the inspiration. I would say Dog Day Afternoon and Akira.
Some directors play it safe. Gore Verbinski dives into chaos.
This cannon's gonna go. All 4 cannons would just go. You can't do this with these cannons, and there's no way.
For over 2 decades, he's been Hollywood's mad scientist, the filmmaker who refuses categories. Animated lizards, pirate epics, horror remakes, neo-westerns, from The Ring to Pirates of the Caribbean, Rango to A Cure for Wellness.
I'd made a movie a while ago called Rango, which is an animated movie, and I wanted to get back into that space, so
His work doesn't follow patterns, it shatters them. But underneath every visual fever dream, every tonal shift that shouldn't work but does, every frame that looks like it might collapse under its own weight, there's a method. Verbinski didn't stumble into madness. He engineered it. He learned from films that dared to be strange, that chose atmosphere over explanation, that proved spectacle could have substance if you earned it. He doesn't make comfortable cinema. He makes a cinema that crawls under your skin and builds nests. And when he reveals his favorites, he's not reciting a safe list. He's exposing his influences. These 10 films didn't just shape Gore Verbinski. They gave him permission to be gloriously, unapologetically weird. 10. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. 1920, Robert Wiena's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari looks like madness painted on canvas.
That was interesting. Never done a Q&A before a movie. Some people haven't seen the movie, so I'm gonna have to reevaluate.
German expressionism at its purest. Crooked streets, twisted shadows, a carnival barker, a sleepwalking murderer. Nothing is straight, nothing feels right. Verbinski discovered it early and realized reality is negotiable. That film could live inside visual insanity. What hooked him was the commitment. Wiena didn't apologize for the strangeness. The sets reject naturalism completely. Walls lean, windows slant, perspective warps. It's a nightmare you can't wake from. Verbinski studied how design creates unease, how the environment becomes psychology. Every Verbinski film carries this DNA. The Ring turns suburban Seattle into a haunted landscape. A Cure for Wellness builds an entire sanatorium of wrong angles and disturbing symmetry. Even Pirates warps reality with cursed ships in impossible physics. Caligari taught him that production design isn't decoration, it's storytelling. That warping the world warps perception, that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what happens, it's where it happens. 9. The Third Man. 1949. Carol Reed's The Third Man is set in Vienna after the war.
there's a lot of the back end of that movie. I still don't understand the last 20 minutes, but I keep watching it because I want to understand it.
Rubble and fog and shadows slicing through cobblestones.
You old man, I'm dead hunter.
You can help somehow.
Holly. Exactly who did you tell about me,
I told the police.
Orson Welles emerges from darkness like a ghost with a smirk. The zither score, the Dutch angles. Every frame tilted just enough to feel wrong. Verbinski has called it the most atmospheric film ever shot. What captivated him was Reed's use of space. Vienna becomes a maze. The sewers underneath mirror the moral rot above. The famous Ferris wheel scene uses height and silence to build dread. Reed shoots noir like a horror film. Everything beautiful is also threatening. Verbinski absorbed this approach completely. The Ring uses Seattle's gray perpetual rain as suffocation. Pirates transform the ocean into Gothic architecture. Rango makes the desert feel like psychological warfare. Reed proved that location determines tone, that weather is character, that you can make audiences uncomfortable just by choosing the right shadows. The Third Man showed Verbinski that mood isn't a bonus feature, it's the foundation everything else stands on. 8. Jaws, 1975. Steven Spielberg's Jaws taught Gore Verbinski the power of withholding. A killer shark terrorizing a beach town, except you barely see the shark. Spielberg's mechanical monster kept breaking, so he shot around it, showed barrels, showed water. showed reactions, made absence terrifying. What Verbinski studied was restraint. Spielberg could have shown rubber shark footage constantly. Instead, he trusted suspense over spectacle. The Indianapolis speech, the barrel chase, the cage scene, each builds tension through suggestion and stakes. When the shark finally appears fully, you've been so primed that it works despite the limitations. The Ring follows this playbook religiously. Samara barely appears until the finale. Verbinski shows televisions, shows aftermath, shows creeping dread. He learned from Spielberg that horror lives in anticipation, that what you imagine is scarier than what you show. Jaws proved you could make blockbusters that respect intelligence. That constraint breeds creativity, that sometimes the best special effect is withholding the effect entirely. 7. Straw Dogs, 1971. Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs is domesticity becoming violence. Dustin Hoffman and Susan George move to rural England. Tension simmers. Masculinity gets questioned.
Is it gone? Amy.
Then the finale erupts into one of cinema's most brutal home invasions. Verbinski has said it's unbearably tense, that it understands violence as corruption, not catharsis. What fascinated him was Peckinpah's pacing. The first hour is a quiet menace, uncomfortable stares, small provocations. Peckinpah lets pressure build until the kettle screams. When violence comes, it's ugly and intimate. No glory, just survival instinct overriding civilization. A Cure for Wellness channels this slow burn dread. Nothing overtly horrific happens early, just wrongness accumulating. Verbinski learned from Peckinpah that audiences can tolerate long stretches of discomfort if the payoff justifies it. That violence means more when you've sat with characters during peace. Straw Dogs prove that patient filmmaking hits harder, that you don't need constant action if every quiet moment vibrates with potential danger. 6. Sorcerer, 1977. William Friedkin's Sorcerer is 4 desperate men driving trucks loaded with unstable explosives through the South American jungle. 2 hours of sweat and existential dread. It's a remake of The Wages of Fear, but Friedkin made it his own fever dream.
Good bodies.
Tangerine Dream's electronic score, the bridge sequence that takes 20 minutes of pure suspense. What obsessed Verbinski was Friedkin's commitment to difficulty. Sorcerer was a nightmare production, real locations, real danger. The film bombed initially but became a cult masterpiece. Friedkin refused to compromise. Every frame drips with paranoia and humidity. The trucks become characters. Geography becomes antagonist. Pirates of the Caribbean shares this insanity. Verbinski insisted on practical ships, real ocean shooting, and actors on actual rigging during storms. The Maelstrom battle required engineering miracles. He learned from Friedkin that ambitious filmmaking requires stubborn vision, that audiences feel the difference between sound stages and real elements. Sorcerer taught him that suffering for your art sometimes produces the art worth suffering for. 5. Black Narcissus, 1947. Powell and Pressburger's Black Narcissus are nuns in the Himalayas losing their minds. Repression, isolation, sexual tension, madness. Shot entirely in English studios, but looking more real than location footage. Technicolor so vivid it burns. Deborah Kerr's face becomes a battleground between faith and desire. What stunned Verbinski was the artificiality creating truth. Powell built the Himalayas on sound stages, painted backdrops, forced perspective, yet it feels more psychologically real than documentary. The design expresses interior states, colors represent emotions. Wind isn't weather, it's psychological pressure made visible. Verbinski built his entire aesthetic on this principle. Rango creates a cartoon desert that feels more authentic than real locations. A Cure for Wellness uses artificial environments to externalize mental breakdown. He learned from Powell that heightened reality penetrates deeper than naturalism. That stylization isn't lying, it's clarifying. Black Narcissus proved that you don't photograph reality. You construct it. That artifice is honest when it reflects inner truth. 4. Don't Look Now. 1973. Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now is grief as a haunted house. Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie mourning their drowned daughter in Venice during winter. The architecture becomes a labyrinth. Water everywhere reflects distorted images. Time fractures. A red coat glimpsed in crowds. Maybe their daughter. Maybe death is coming. What mesmerized Verbinski was Roeg's editing. The film cuts between past, present, and future without warning. Timelines blur. The famous love scene intercuts with them dressing for dinner afterward. Roeg makes linear storytelling impossible. Venice isn't a location. It's a state of mind drowning in loss. The Ring borrows this temporal manipulation. Images from the cursed tape bleed into reality. Past and present collapse. Verbinski learned from Roeg that grief distorts perception, that mourning doesn't follow narrative rules, that editing can express psychology better than dialogue. Don't Look Now taught him that horror works best when it's about something real, that ghosts are just grief made visible. 3. Stalker, 1979. Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker is three men walking through a forbidden zone where reality bends. Maybe it grants wishes, maybe it destroys souls. Tarkovsky never clarifies. Long takes, minimal dialogue, water dripping, ruins breathing. 2.5 hours that feel like hypnosis. What Verbinski couldn't shake was Tarkovsky's patience. Western cinema demands constant stimulation. Tarkovsky demands contemplation. The camera holds on puddles for minutes. Characters sit in silence. The zone isn't explained because mystery is the point. Tarkovsky trusts audiences to sit with ambiguity. A Cure for Wellness attempts this approach within studio constraints. Long takes of swimming, hydrotherapy sessions that become meditative and menacing. Verbinski learned from Tarkovsky that not everything needs explanation. That atmosphere can replace plot. That boredom is sometimes a tool, not a failure. Stalker proved that cinema can be poetry. That image can mean without saying. That the slowest films sometimes penetrate deepest. 2. Aguirre, The Wrath of God. 1972. Werner Herzog's Aguirre is conquistadors descending into jungle madness. Klaus Kinski as Aguirre, eyes burning with insane ambition, declaring himself emperor as his raft fills with monkeys. Herzog shot it on location in Peru. No permits, no safety. Pure, reckless vision captured on film. What inspired Verbinski was Herzog's relationship with chaos. The production was dangerous. The actors nearly died. Kinski threatened to murder Herzog. But that chaos bleeds into every frame. The jungle isn't a backdrop. It's devouring the characters. The raft journey downriver becomes a descent into hell. Reality and madness merge. Pirates capture this energy. Verbinski shooting on real oceans during hurricanes. Practical ships. Genuine danger. He learned from Herzog that controlled chaos produces authenticity. That safe filmmaking looks safe. That sometimes you have to risk everything to capture something true. Aguirre proved that great films require a touch of insanity. That the director's madness and the character's madness should mirror each other. 1. Apocalypse. Now 1979, Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now is the ultimate descent. Vietnam War as hallucinogenic nightmare. Martin Sheen travels upriver to assassinate Marlon Brando's rogue colonel. Every mile deeper into the jungle is a mile deeper into insanity. Verbinski has called it the greatest adventure film ever made. Not despite the darkness, because of it. What makes it untouchable is Coppola's total commitment. The production nearly killed everyone. Heart attacks, typhoons, budget spiraling. Coppola mortgaged everything. The chaos on screen mirrors the chaos behind the camera. Brando improvising philosophy. The helicopter attack set Wagner off. Kurtz's compound lit like hell's throne room. Verbinski built his career chasing this ambition. Pirates become bigger, stranger, more unwieldy with each installment, taking studio money and making something genuinely weird. He learned from Coppola that commercial films can be art if you fight hard enough, that sometimes the only way out is through. Apocalypse, now proved that masterpieces require risking everything. That's why it's number one. Gore Verbinski doesn't make normal films. These 10 movies taught him not to. They showed him that the atmosphere beats explanation, that chaos has structure, that risk creates reward. Which film shocked you most? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for deeper dives into directors who refuse to play safe.